Hello guys, it's me, Soroko. I'm back with a new video. Today we're going to be talking about Final Fantasy XIV. There has been a burst of new Final Fantasy XIV players, and because of that I think it's very important to make content about it, just to help those newcomers into this fantastic video game. Today I want to touch base about Final Fantasy XIV classes and how they work into this specific game, because being from a background of World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy XIV classes does not work like the usual classes you would see in another MMORPG. They look a little bit more similar to something like Ragnarok Online for the OGs that really know what I'm talking about here. First topic on the subject, the class level versus the MSQ level. So a lot of the people that are going to start the game are going to be thinking, oh, I am starting as a conjurer, right? So I'm going to be leveling my character up to level 60 as a conjurer and then developing into a white mage. And that's going to be what I'm going to be doing. And if I want to then be a black mage or something like that, I'm going to have to create a new character. Now, something that is fun about Final Fantasy XIV is that you actually have an MSQ level, which is a main story quest, where you just need to have a job a certain level, so a class, to be able to do the story. What that entails is that you don't need to do the story 10 times if you want to be playing all of the classes. You just need your class to be at the level of where you are in the story to continue your progression of the story. So you could do the whole story playing white mage or whatever the class you decide to play. And then on the other hours that you don't want to be doing the main story quest, you could simply change your class and go into doing dungeons or leveling or whatever it is that you want to do into the other classes that you're not using for your main story quest, right? Which brings us to another point, which is, what is the difference in between the class and job, and why is it exactly that we can change in between those, right? So the class system in Final Fantasy XIV is in my opinion, a very good class system. But it can be a bit confusing because you have to remember that this game was released in 2013, so it has been a while now, and everything that was, released with the release of that game has been updated, but not fine-tuned to like today's standards of like 2021. So the class system works that you have two different disciples. You have the disciples of war and the disciples of magic. Just like the name says it, most of the stuff that is melee is going to be under war, and everything that is like low-key kind of ranged is going to be under the disciples of magic. So if we're going to be talking about classes, we also need to talk about jobs. Now, we need to understand the difference in between both of them. Classes are actually a concept that came into the base game, where you would start as, like I said, a conjurer and then morph into a white mage. The white mage would be the job. There's multiple different classes like gladiator, marauder, arcanist, archer, lancer, pugilist, rogue, thaumaturge, conjurers. These classes, you wouldn't play them into the in-game content because they all morph into a job. So if your goal is to be, I don't know, an archer, honestly, you would be only able to play archer up to a certain level. Then you would need to upgrade it to a bard, because the class is really more of a prerequisite of showing you how to play the game before giving you a full toolkit into a class. I think the only class that morphs into two jobs, if I'm not mistaken, is the arcanist that goes into summoner and scholar, which is a very interesting thing. Now, if we're going to be talking about the classes and the jobs, we have to talk about the three main types of classes / jobs that you can play in Final Fantasy XIV. Actually, when you play World of Warcraft, for example, you're used to having either a tank, a healer, or a DPS. Now, under Final Fantasy XIV, there's a different hierarchy of what the main subgenres are. So you have the tanks, you have the healers, But then you have the melee DPS, the physical range DPS, and then the magical range DPS. So you get a little bit more variety in terms of like DPS wise. And I also think that in Walker, they're dividing the healers into two types of healers. So you're going to have the shielding ones, which is going to be the Sage and the Scholar, and you're going to have the healing one, which are going to be the Astrologian and the White Mage. Now, if we're looking into the tanks, we have in the game right now the Paladin, the Warrior, the Dark Knight, and the Gunbreaker. When you're playing a tank, you really want to be using the enmity to tank, you know, the bosses, and hopefully taking all of the damage so your teammates don't have to. Now, for the healing classes, we have the White Mage, the Scholar, and the Astrologian. In the next expansion, there's also going to be the Sage. Now, when you're playing healer, you're really trying to heal your teammates. You know, basically every single job heals differently. Inside of those, I would say the Scholar and the Sage are more like shielding types of effects, and the White Mage and Astrologian, it's more like healing types of effects. For the DPS portion, now we're going to section it into 3 different types. So we're going to start with the melee DPS. Melee in Final Fantasy XIV works in a way that you really need to position. So depending on where you're positioning your character, it's going to deal more or less damage. Currently, there's the Monk, the Dragoon, the Ninja, and the Samurai. I do believe next expansion there's also going to be the Reaper as a melee DPS. And this is actually a class that I am very excited to try. Even though I am an Astrologian main, I am very excited to try the Reaper. Come on now, it looks amazing. For the physical range DPS, we have the Bard, the Machinist, the Dancer. These are more support wise types of jobs. They do a lot to you know, add damage into the team. They have more movement, so it's a little bit, they bring in, I think, a little bit more utilities than just pure DPS. For the magic range DPS, we have the Black Mage, the Summoner, the Red Mage. There's also the Blue Mage, but we don't really count this one in this household. The reason behind this is that Blue Mage is basically it's a job that's, you cannot really do any duties with it. You cannot raid with it. It's what I call an arcade job. You play it to have fun, basically. You just go out in the world and you have fun with this job. So really, the list would be more for me, in my opinion. Black Mage, Summoner, and Red Mage. And the magic range DPS, their job is to deal damage, right? It's a very pure subgenre of DPS where all you want to do is high burst of damage. Honestly, Black Mage are scary sometimes because not only will they do a lot of damage, but they will also stay at the same spot and just wait for you to heal them if you're a healer. Be wary of the Black Mages. They're low-key kind of crazy. And if you're gonna be, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but if you're gonna be you know, doing the quests of these jobs, you're gonna find out that the Black Mages kind of loco. So something that is very fun in Final Fantasy XIV is you're basically living your Final Fantasy, right? You're living a fantasy, so you get to play and play whatever you feel like playing at the moment. You're not restricted into only be playing, you know, White Mage. If you made a White Mage character, you're gonna only be playing White Mage. You're also allowed to change your jobs and live the different quests of different jobs. For example, I did the ninja quest and it was a very good and amazing story, and then you do the Astrologian quest and it's also another story, so it's very fun. Final Fantasy XIV is very it's very story driven, so it's fun to do every single classes, to be honest, every single jobs, and being able to live throughout that story. Now, I'm gonna finish this video by giving you a quick tip on how to do a quick job change. So a lot of people don't know, like they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I can change like jobs, but I have to remove the soul stone and go back in and then you know, add it in. Like, it just confuses me. I don't know what to do. Let me show you like a quick way to do it right now. So this way you will never think about it anymore. It's gonna be just something, you just click on it and you're gonna have it. All right, and I am back. I just teleported myself to our FC house, which is basically the guild system. If you're not there yet, it's fine. I just wanted to show you guys a quick and easy way to change in between jobs. Right now, I'm currently on my astrologian, and as you can see, I have loads of icons right beside me on my right bar right here that I can basically click on it. So if I clicked on my dancer, for example, I would then change into a dancer. You might be asking, oh, that is all fine and dandy, but how do I do that? How do I just click on a button and then I'm a gunbreaker? Like, I want that for me. Now, this is very easy. So basically, you make sure that you have your recommended gear of everything you want, the correct soul stone. So you'll just, you have everything, right? So just beside the recommended gear button and the glamour plate button, there is a button called gear set list. This is where you would save your actual gear that you have currently. You can always make a new gear set. You can delete them. You can move them up. You can preview them. You can reassign gear to them. You can do a lot of stuff to it. Now, once these are saved, you can grab it and you're gonna be able to put it as a new icon anywhere you desire, basically on your HUD. So it's also super easy for you to change job once you've done that. I would say every time that you're gonna change your gear, there's a little button right here that is called update gear set. I would click on that and it saves your gear. Now, there's something about gear and jobs in this, that every types of subgenre of jobs are sharing the same gear. So all of my healers are sharing the same gear. So if I would change it on my astrologian and then I would go on my white mage and I would update the gear set as well, and then I would go on my scholar and I would update the gear set as well, just because they're sharing the same gear. Same goes to the tanks, the melee DPSs, the physical range DPSs, and the magical range DPSs. I hope you learned something from this, and I hope, you know, you get a kick out of it and you're able to play all of the jobs and live the fantasy that you wanted through Final Fantasy XIV. This is gonna be everything for me today. I really do hope that, you know, you got something out of this. Let me know in the comments what's your favorite job to play in Final Fantasy XIV right now, and are you excited for the new ones that are going to come up soon in Endwalker? I hope that I get to see you next time. Otherwise than that, you can always follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Soroko. I stream on Monday, Tuesday, Friday, and Saturdays at 7 PM EST time. And I hope that you have an amazing and creamy day. Bye!